Hey guys, welcome back to the Ghost and Fringe YouTube channel, joined by Mr. Gage Sheets, top right, and Nash, the one-man bottom. Nash, how we doing, bud? Gage, y'all doing all right?
Yeah, done good.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, obviously Texas survives, Nashville leaves with a 27-24 win. Might be a little bit closer than that game was. Vanderbilt had a little bit of fight. Texas let a little bit slip away. Overall, we'll break down the game in a more significant manner as we go on. But just overall, what were thoughts, feelings, emotions going through that one yesterday in Nashville?
I was getting a little nervous towards the end because I was just like, yeah. I mean, I didn't ever think like, oh, we're gonna lose, but you do have like these flashbacks to previous seasons where like we find a way to blow a game at the end in some dramatic fashion. So did get a little nervous at the end, but yeah, 3 points doesn't justify. I think other than a couple turnovers, which were tipped passes. I think that we actually did a pretty decent job. So, but that's just my opinion. I know a lot of other people are very upset. We only won by 3 points, but
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead, Nash.
pretty much the same thing for me. I just there was never a point where I really thought we were losing the game, but it felt like it was like, man, like this, we really have a chance to let this slip away from us, and this could just be like a disastrous loss. Almost, it feels like. Uh, it didn't feel like that was ever really going to like actually happen, but the more and more plays just kept happening, man. They just kept like the discipline at the end of the game just slipped away.
Yeah, it's totally, man. I mean, it didn't help that every single drive, that we had in the second half, it felt like there was a penalty flag thrown for holding. And going back and looking at a couple of them, I don't know what the officiating crew was looking at on a couple of these calls. Now, a couple of the times, it looked like holding. But hey, man, once again, I said a few weeks ago, it feels cool just to have an officiating crew that's capable of making the holding call. I kind of ain't gonna walk back those words. That was tough. Every drive seemed to be killed by a penalty. You look at the second half drive chart, and I think we had, field goal, interception, punt, field goal, and then obviously the nilling out the clock at the end of the game. I don't know what it is, man. Something about the Texas teams under Sark, and even playing out an outmatched opponent, get a big lead. Second half, the offense really kind of just sputters out. What was the main issue outside of penalty that y'all looked at yesterday in the second half as far as the offense struggling there? Because that's what we'll go back over the first half, but that's where all the concerns come from, is what that offense looked like in the second half there.
Lack of a run game. I
Yep.
mean, when you run the ball on first down and you only get 1 or 2 yards, and then there's an incomplete pass or there's a penalty or but just whatever. When you only get 1 or 2 yards on first down, that limits your second down play call, or really it limits your second down or third down play calls if you fail on second down. Now second down has to be it has to be a pass, not pass like as in throw the ball, but like you have to succeed on the second down play so that you can open up the playbook for third down. And when you're on third and long, you're stuck into a passing situation. You just can't do anything. Like it is what it is. Now, like you look at it, like there were actually times that I thought Quinn Ewers did a really good job of being dealt a really shitty hand, and he overcame it. And Jaden Blue did a couple times. He had a 23-yard run.
Yep.
On like a 3rd and 16, and so it was nice to see the offense able to overcome it. Now I know this is like an offensive question, but in my opinion, the biggest issue was the defensive penalties.
Yeah, I mean, there were penalties all over the field on both sides of the ball there for Texas. I think what number did we finish with? 10 penalties for just over 100 yards.
Yeah, 10 penalties, but there were 2 on defense I want to touch on here in a second. It was, I mean, it's the difference between this game being a blowout and this game being 24-27.
Yeah, it definitely was a game that felt like it should have been a blowout. The way that Texas played there in the end of the first quarter and in the second quarter. How about you, Gage? Second half concerns, thoughts?
Yeah, I would say the same thing was running the ball. You can't run the ball, and then you become predictable. And I just felt like the offense in the second half kind of became predictable. It was kind of like, well, we know it's coming. Like, and then again, I mean, the penalties were the killers because every single time we did get a decent play, would call back. So yeah, just completely out of rhythm, and lack of success in the run game, and made it predictable for Vanderbilt's defense. So
And I want to add the running backs look well. Like
Yeah.
Quintravian Weisner was looking really good. Like he was showed a lot of fight on runs. Like just the effort was at a maximum for him. And then same for Jaden Blue. These guys, they were looking good, but we need more push from the front on the run blocking. Like it is what it is.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of room for that offensive line to grow. Kind of a lackluster last couple of weeks for those guys. Didn't really protect the passers super well in this game. Didn't really identify a couple of late blitzes from Vanderbilt well, and then obviously a slew of penalties right there. Guys, appreciate you all being here in the comments. Richard, yeah, the defenses, outside of what Nash just mentioned, a couple of penalties. Defense played pretty well. The 2 short fields or those 2 touchdown drives off the interceptions. Again, hated to see that. Targeting penalty, that's going to hurt. We need Big Vernon Broughton in there. That was a bonehead play. I think he probably knew that at the moment that he made that decision. And so I'm sure got an earful from probably Sark and Kenny Baker there. That hopefully doesn't burn us too bad in the first half when Florida comes to town. Yeah, Coach, you're right on that, man. 100 penalties is gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna let any offense, obviously have a little more potential of scoring points, moving the ball, even though they are pretty outmatched.
I'll say at least it's not in Arkansas, man. I would hate to lose Vernon Broughton for a half versus Taylor Green.
Yeah, that'd have been rough, man.
That dude is literally the Arkansas offense.
Mac, I appreciate you being back, and congratulations to your Sooners on scoring multiple touchdowns this week. You guys are trending up. You also covered the spread. Good things are happening in there. Personally, you should probably extend Brent Venables for as long as possible. Keep all those offensive staff members around.
10-year contract.
Bedenbaugh's he's gonna figure it out. Things are looking up, brother. So thanks for coming back, Mac, and just giving you a hard time, of course. This is an underlying issue there in this game. Vanderbilt capitalized off the Texas turnovers, scored the max 14 points off the 2 Quinn Ewers deflected interceptions. Texas didn't make Vanderbilt pay when we had turned over Diego Pavia. And so that almost came back to bite us. Joseph, you're supposed to be here right now. Go follow the link and get your butt on the show, man. What are you doing? Yeah, Coach, 2 of them, the one on Helm and the one on Kelvin Banks. I don't know what they wanted Banks or Helm to do specifically in those spots. Really, really odd there. But
you know what they need to do? See, here's what they like. This is the next evolution. I know we talked about referees getting paid, right? What they also need to do is we need to treat these dudes like police officers, right? Like, okay, you put out the penalty. We need an explanation for why you put out the penalty and what the player is supposed to do, right? Like a penalty report, right? give us a penalty version of a police report on it. But I don't know, man. Like, and here's the other thing. Even like I know there were some Texas fans arguing that wasn't a targeting penalty and remove the targeting. It's still roughing the passer penalty,
right,
and that wipes away a pick 6 that they later score a touchdown on the drive.
Yep,
that's effectively 14 points right there.
Yep.
And then you also look at it. The other penalty that I wanted to touch on too was the Malik Muhammad defensive pass interference on a 4th and 9.
Yeah.
If we don't get a DPI on that play, which they go, yeah,
that's hilarious.
Hey, I called in from the dish, man. You can... You can do it from a bus, but no, I'm joking. But if they don't get that, then they don't score later on that drive. That's 14. That's 14 points, probably 21 if you count the missed 6 points from the interception.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference between this being what, like a 31 to 17 or 13 point game. It's a big difference in this game and how in the like overall outlook of how this happens with those two defensive penalties. You can keep all the other offensive penalties. You can keep all the not scoring the turnovers.
Yeah, it still looks like a blowout there pretty easily without a couple of defensive penalties. I was about to ask Cage. Cage is going to war right now. It's does that give you, Nash? Does that give you reason for hope, reason for belief? Because so many issues in this game are self-inflicted. It's not like Vanderbilt just like out schemed us. There are a couple of even Vanderbilt's first touchdown. We've got Diego strung out pretty well. Jalen loses containment there on the right side. Diego walks down the tie line or the tie rope down the sideline, scores a touchdown. Penalties are it's getting hard to think they'll be corrected offensively because we continue to see the penalties. But does that give you hope? Because we shot ourselves in the foot over and over and over. It seemed like we were the reason that game wasn't a 30 to 35 point differential. It was only a 3-point differential. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, in a way, I mean, like it kind of what you just referenced. I mean, at this point, it's who we are almost. Like if we're gonna, like if you keep on, if you commit the penalties every game, it's just who you are, right? It is what it is,
right?
But to the other point, if you don't commit those penalties, right, and we have a game where we play just clean football, it feels like really the only team that can really stop Texas is Texas. Like if they go out there and they play their A+ ball game on both sides of the football, no team is beating us. Like no, there's not a team that's going to beat Texas. And I know that sounds like really brash and cocky and all that stuff after the last 2 weeks, right? But also, this is like you said. You asked us how we were feeling before we went live, and I said I might surprise you. I'm feeling how I think if I were a Georgia fan, how I would have felt last week after the win. That's how I'm feeling this week. Because yes, Georgia did beat us 30-15, but really without that Vernon Broughton, it's probably a really similar score. It's like 31-17 or something like that.
Yeah.
This game. And I'm still walking away feeling the exact same way, regardless of it being 27-24. We got really sloppy at the end. Offense looked really good for a lot of the portion. I thought Quinn Ewers and the running backs played winning football, especially the wide receivers as well. It's just like these, and like you said, some of these penalties, are they really penalties? I don't know, but that's football. You gotta play with it. We just have to remain disciplined because it's also this is the other thing. It's like fourth downs. What was Vanderbilt on fourth downs? I just want to pull this up real quick. They were 1 and 2 on fourth downs, 3 and 12 on third downs, but one of those third down conversions or stops really doesn't really matter because they go for it on fourth down to get the conversion.
Right.
A third down conversion, a third down stop doesn't mean shit if you let them get a fourth down.
Yeah, a lot of times nowadays, coaches are having 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6 on the opponent's 40-yard line, and they're scheming to run, 2 plays. They're running the ball on 3rd and 5, knowing that they can gain, minimum of 2-3 yards, setting themselves up. So yeah, I will agree with you on that take.
Well, it's really 2 of 3 conversions because the penalty negates that one, and that doesn't show up in the stat box.
True.
But it's just like it's when points on drives come off of these conversions, that's when it really hurts too. And if you get rid of these small things, and this is where it's the details. The details are differences between a team looking like a really good team, that can be in the game versus any top 25 team in the country, or just looking like a total juggernaut that's out there, bending teams over the barrel.
No, I agree with you there, man. That's what separates good teams and great teams, and I think that's what a lot of people are trying to decide right now. Even some of our own fans is Texas a good team or is Texas a great team? Do they have that great team capability gauge? A lot of self-inflicted damage there from Texas yesterday. Does that give you reason for hope, knowing that these are fixable things? We do have the bye week coming up before a very interesting 4-game stretch. I'll say that. Yeah. Long story short, do you have the confidence that you had a few weeks ago about Texas?
No. I mean, but that comes and goes with the season, right? Like I feel a lot the way I felt after the Houston game last year. Like I'm just like, oh, that was super shaky, and if we perform like that against one of these other teams, we're gonna get tripped up. Um, and we never had that bad of a performance again for the rest of the season. But that's just kind of how I feel. Like I was just like, oh man. Other than I guess Quinn got hurt in the Houston game, so I guess other than that, but still, that's kind of how I felt. I there was multiple times where I wanted, like, I feel like if we were the team I thought we were, a couple weeks ago, like we would have put our foot on their throat, and we just didn't do that. And whether it's self inflicted or not, like yeah, I'm proud of the way they battled the adversity, though. Like, so it makes me happy for that because they're gonna have more adversity coming through in these last 4 games. But yeah, I mean, you go on the road to Arkansas and you play like that, probably not gonna win the football game.
Yeah, Arkansas looked really, really good in Starkville, blowing away Mississippi State. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people's confidence has waned here over the last 2 weeks, but at the same time, you did just mention the Houston game from last year. The Houston game was following the Oklahoma game last year, the only regular season game Texas lost. It didn't look like there was any type of hangover effect. We had a deflected pass that went against us there on the first series. Vanderbilt had a short field converted after some Pavia magic there. We'll give them the credit for that. But overall, Texas's defense, they played very, very well in this game. They held Diego, I think he was 16 of 29 for $140, somewhere in that neighborhood. He really didn't do a lot with his arm. But yeah, man, they won the game. Okay, they find a way to win the game. Vanderbilt is better than Houston was last year. Vanderbilt is better than even TCU was last year, who Texas fell apart against in the second half and let the Frogs get back in that one. People are, I get why they're being hard on us, though. I really do, because it's still Vandy by name. Vandy has 5 wins this year. Yes, they beat Kentucky. They beat Alabama. But it's still Vanderbilt by name. And so whether we won that game by 1 or by 30, I was going to walk out of it and honestly be okay, be happy because, hey, we have a bye week. Very rarely do we get the same 2 exact Texas teams showing up, back-to-back weeks here. And so we just win the game. Just win the game, move on. Like Nash said, it very easily could have been a little bit of a blowout. This comment right here is a great point as well. Texas very, very easily could have had a goal line stand there. That pick, how that pass found a Commodore in the end zone was insane. Sometimes things just go against you. Guys played the play pretty dang well. Everybody covered up well. It was in great spots. That's part of it. And so, hey, we won the game. We move on. Let's do offensive and defensive game balls. Whoever wants to start that off, go right ahead.
I'll go ahead and I'll start off with my defensive game ball. I'm just going to give that to Michael Taft, man. What a dude out there. That guy. Yeah. Like if there's a kid, like if there's a player on this UT team that if I had a son, and I'd be like, look, get all the Michael Taft posters you want, right? Get all the Michael Taft jerseys. Like I want my kid, following guys like him as a role model. He's just really cool dude. To like his whole story and all that stuff. But just if you were to watch him play football this year. Like if this is your first year of watching Michael Taft play football, and you know the sport of football, you wouldn't even think, it wouldn't even come to your mind that it was a possibility this dude was a preferred walk on at one point. So
right.
It's just really cool story from him. Love to see him balling out there and being a legit leader of this defense and stepping up when we need him the most. Honorable mention on defense to Jelani McDonald, if that's one of y'all's. I'm sorry, but. On offense, Quinn Ewers. I like this is one of the things that annoys me is if you go, and it's not even just statistically, if you go watch, he has some very similar plays last night from the Michigan game. It was the same game. Quinn Ewers playing versus Vanderbilt was basically the same versus Michigan, and maybe even more so to a little bit more extremes than Vanderbilt, like because really Michigan versus Quinn Ewers versus Michigan was just a huge first half start, and then not really much in the second half. Now it was a little bit different conditions, but Quinn Ewers also navigated the pocket, I believe, and like if you go watch. Especially there was one where he steps up and gives Silas Bolton the ball that he had to step up through some pressure in the pocket and he had to deliver a ball. And it reminded me a lot of the one where he gave that ball to Matthew Golden versus Michigan, if you remember, in the middle of the field. Like he steps up and kind of does like almost like a shortstop throw. Just great throw. And there was another one where he just splits two defenders, throwing it to Gunnar Helm. He reminded me a lot of the Michigan game, both on the field and on the film. And then the tape, the stats are damn near the same. And honestly, a little bit better for this game, despite the two deflected interceptions that are both deflections. I'm not going to fault him on those, So it is what it is, but that's my offensive MVP for the game. And I don't like how it really sucks when you see former Texas players openly advocating for Arch Manning to be the starter, and not advocate, but wishing that Arch Manning was a starter.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people.
It's Texas. It's gonna, the noise is gonna be there, but it's crazy to think like after all the years of David Ash, Tyrone Swoops, all these years of quarterback play, our fans have not learned one damn thing.
Who was your defensive? Sorry, say that again.
Michael Taft.
Michael Taft. Okay, I like it. Michael Taft, Quinn Ewers for Nash. What do you have, Gage?
I'll go somewhere different on defense. I'll give it to Kobe Black, freshman stepping in. He was getting coverage. Obviously, had the pick six taken away, which was super cool. So yeah, I thought he stepped into a role and he made a couple plays and he played good defense. Like it's pretty impressive for a freshman. So I'll give it to Kobe there, and then on the offense, I'm gonna go DeAndre Moore because DeAndre Moore is like obviously he had 2 touchdowns, but he is also he seems like a natural leader, and he seems like a guy like I just get like good vibes from DeAndre Moore every time he's on the field. Like he works super hard, he blocks all the time. Like he looks like he's like one of those culture wide receivers, and that's why he's on the field a ton, and that's why he's getting rewarded with touchdowns. So yeah, I really like DeAndre Moore. I wasn't like he wasn't super high on my radar coming into this season, but I mean he's completely taken over, obviously like Jonte's spot at this point. So yeah, DeAndre Moore, I'll give it to him. 2 touchdowns.
I feel a lot better about not having Jade Bear next year after seeing Kobe Black last night.
Kobe Black
than I did before. I had a little bit more worry in me than I woke up this morning. Oh, okay, yeah, you know what, Kobe Black is there.
Yeah. Kobe's going to be a player, no doubt, my man. Great choices there. I definitely probably would have said Quinn first and then DeAndre Moore second, of course. But that's part of it. It's going last. I'll go Quintravion Wise near 125 total yards. Obviously didn't get in the end zone, but really, 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 really good vision in this game. Had some big pickups on the ground, and obviously there through the air as well. So shout out Quintravion. That was a great effort from both him and Jaden Blue in the running game, and out of the backfield. I mean, we need to run the ball better, yes, but those guys are still contributing. They still ran for 106 total, 106 yards after sack yardage was taken out, with sack yardage included. And so, yeah, I mean, Moore definitely seems to be, Gage, to your point, that culture guy. Players love him, hell of a dancer, funny kid. And so hope he keeps getting in the end zone. Defensively, since you only gave him the honorable mention, I'll go Jelani McDonald. He has the 7 tackles. tackle for loss in there as well. Michael Taft balled out, great game. Anthony Hill did a really good job as well. He deserves a shout out. We're used to seeing Anthony Hill do a really, really good job. Played well on Diego. I think Anthony had a pass deflection in there somewhere, but yeah, good game for the Texas defense. Like I'm happy with the performance outside of the drive that's extended by the targeting, which they obviously ended up scoring on. I would like us to be firm, hold Vanderbilt to a field goal on the couple of turnovers that we had that gave them the short field. But I mean, ultimately, you know, we kind of talked about keys to the game without bringing up keys to the game on the pregame show, and all of us are saying, you know, time of possession, turnovers. We won the turnover battle 3-2. We won the time of possession, not by a huge margin or anything, but we didn't get curb stomped in that department like Alabama did when they went till Nashville. So, hey, so it's a win. We have a bye week coming up. November looms very, very, very large. Even more so now after Texas A&M took out LSU last night. Thoughts on that game, if y'all have any?
Superstitions. I didn't believe in them. No, that's not all superstitions. I'm specifically talking about the stupid thing about we all got to pick one thing so that we can make sure it happens. That ain't happening. But I will say credit to the Aggies. They found out who their real starting quarterback is, unless they still want to argue about that on the Twitter timeline. If you do want to argue that, I'm sure there are about like 130 programs in the nation that are willing to go ahead and accept Marcel Reed as their starting quarterback right now. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, A&M, congrats to y'all. Y'all look like, and I will say this. This is, I don't like saying positive things about the Aggies over Texas fans, but we got to stop the whole Mo Bamba. Like, oh, the Aggies are playing the Mo Bamba song in DKR, or not in DKR, in Kyle Field. Yeah, and they're kind of using it better too, right? Like they're like,
oh yeah,
like
no
DKR
doubt.
is not getting that loud. It is not like, and I mean, it is getting loud, but it's not. There's a different level of energy. Like everybody is on their. I'm not saying everybody wasn't on their feet at DKR, but everybody's jumping at Texas A&M. Like it's like you can tell. Like everybody just seems more into it. I don't know. There's
Are
just
you talking specifically during Mo Bamba or just overall?
overall and specifically Mo Bamba, but it's just like that's going to be a rowdy environment, and on November 30th, like that is going to be a rowdy game.
I've been saying, like, I mean, for a while, like Texas fans have been very, very confident about that one since, you know, the move was announced, since the team's trajectories were kind of played out and revealed coming into this season. No, people have no clue what Texas is walking into. I'm not saying Texas cannot win that game, but people don't
I don't even think
understand.
A&M fans know because like
Not,
this thing, I'm
not the
just
young
like
A&M fans. Not the young A&M fans have no clue about what's going on. That not at Kyle. I mean,
well, it's just like that. Like there are like I tweeted about the Texas A&M Twitter account, like how it's like hilarious. They're like they're actively tweeting out like what sections are going to and what's happened, disorderly conduct,
oh yeah,
fights. There's gonna be a lot of fights that night versus Texas and Texas A&M. Like I actually think that this is one of those games where there might be some new rules that are enforced in stadiums, like you know how they have like Texas split at the 50-50. I'm not saying that anything's going to happen like that, but like I think that there might be like repercussions from this game because this is going to be like I just don't think people have really thought about like remove everything, but just thinking about like the two brands that Texas and Texas A&M are as far as football goes, like how rowdy they get as fans, and then you add in we haven't played in over a decade. And then this is also potential. This is like it's looking like that will likely be the winner of the game goes into the SEC championship. There's a lot of implications that ride on that game, and there's a lot of history behind it that hasn't happened in a while. And I
also
just
we're not saying like, you know, we're like, it doesn't matter if A&M peaked never if they were 0-11 and Texas was 11-0 this year. Like I'm talking about the environment that we walk into.
Yeah, no, like this is the same point that Texas fans make about, oh, you can never write off the Red River rivalry, right? Like
Same thing.
it doesn't matter about how good the teams are. Well, first off, it does matter. If A&M was walking with the Oklahoma offense, I'd feel a lot more confident. I really wouldn't give a shit. But this is a good team walking in. This is just like, and I don't know, like it is Kyle Field, but I don't know how much of a home game that's going to be. Like it'll be a home game in the sense that it's played at Kyle Field, but as far as like fan split, I think a lot of Texas fans are going to be in there, and I'm not saying that Texas fans are going to be the majority, but I think it's going to be very close to a 50-50 split in fans that are at that game. You can nod your head, Gage. I mean, like it's like I'm telling you, like Texas fans have been wanting this game back for a really long time too.
Yeah.
The only reason that I give that theory a chance is because the ticket prices are so high, and I know personally a handful of Aggie families who are like, we don't care. As bad as we want to go as many games in a row as we've been to, when people are offering to pay like this season ticket price and possibly next year's as well, then they're like going ahead and selling them. So yeah, I am curious to see what that looks like.
No, I'm just going to tell you, there are always going to be people that will pay. I watch people pay like $500 for just a ticket in the lower bowl area to go watch Texas versus Texas A&M baseball back in 2013 or 2014, because that was the first time that we'd played and like at the Dish. But it's just fans. There are going to be rich fans that are going to blow a lot of money on that. Like this is going to be like Super Bowl level price tickets almost.
Yeah, that's
for some areas.
A lot of these tickets outside of Texas and Georgia, and now Texas and Texas A&M, the ticket price is reduced. You know, as we went through the seasons, we got closer to the game. Obviously, all the Oklahoma fans started putting up all their tickets on their side of Red River Week. But yeah, the prices right now are absolutely insane, and definitely haven't seen many situations like it. Gage, do you fear A&M and Texas rolls into there?
I thought it was a good adjustment by Elko to take Wegman out, because he was ducking every time that it was like snap the ball 1-2 duck. So I think for a lot of different reasons it was a good idea to pull Wegman. But yeah, I mean, it's another Brian Kelly masterclass of absolutely not preparing for what could have been the inevitable in Marcel Reed coming in, and that defense looked absolutely clueless on how to defend a running quarterback in the second half. And like, I get it. Like, I think that Marcel Reed is a good quarterback, and I think that he made a huge difference coming in. But at the same time, like, LSU looked dumbfounded defensively when he came in the game.
Yeah,
and then, yeah, obviously the couple throws that were made that we were texting back and forth. So something Elko must have saw something to change that defense. I haven't really watched too much, but Elko must have changed something on that defense there in the later part of the game to confuse LSU. So yeah, good job A&M. Yeah, of course I'm nervous for that game. You're walking into war, and it's a good football team. So
that's the thing, man. You're gonna be nervous regardless. Anytime you play A&M, you play Oklahoma. I mean, anytime Texas plays football, I'm nervous. Obviously, it's ramped up to a different level when one of those two teams is the opposition. But whether A&M was 4-6 going or 4-7 going, it doesn't matter. Like, I would be nervous. But this particular Aggie team, the defense is what gives me issues or pause, because our issues have come on offense. We're gonna have a very loud crowd. We've had a lot of penalties lately, so like you can see why I start to get a little bit more nervous about it. But
yeah, blocking your defensive line is, I mean, that's blocking their defensive line is going to be hell.
And the ticket prices, the cheapest ticket on StubHub right now, including fees, is $914.
That's insane.
Like, and we're talking like nosebleeds, like Kyle Field nosebleeds.
Yeah,
their seats are very much almost like. Yeah, their seats are those ones that you're like, you look down the stairs and you're like, yeah, let me not fall.
That's where John Paul Patterson sits, my man. I'll say this though, talking about Marcel Reed, looked fantastic last night. threw a very, very nice deep ball there that when A&M was up 28-23 in the fourth, that kind of helped extend that game. LSU looked so unprepared to defend him. My Lord, had no clue what they were doing. It didn't look like anyone had a key of any sort. They were just trying to react, and it was always terrible. And so for me, it's like, okay, with weeks and weeks of film on this guy, with defenses that are getting all week, preparing for him. Now, yeah, like you might have to prepare for both quarterbacks. Maybe that's what it is. But with Marcel Reed, like if he didn't ever have to throw the ball, you're not going to beat A&M. You just let him run everywhere. Le'Veon Moss looked really, really good. You're not going to beat them. And so take away the run game, he hasn't been very strong as a passer, even though he did hit a huge play last night. And that's not to say that he will not continue to progress as a passer. A&M fans will tell you the same thing. That's why a lot of them were clamoring for Connor to come back in and start that Missouri game, was because Marcel had struggled as a passer. But should be a fun one, man. The stakes are what is making this really cool. A&M, it sucks. It's not fun. It doesn't feel good, but there is a little bit of poetic justice in this whole situation with A&M never even making it to Atlanta. Now, essentially, they need to win 2 out of 3 versus South Carolina, Auburn, and Texas to have a really good chance of getting there. But definitely going to be a fun night, November 30th. Nash, you're going to have to find a way over there, my man. Can't have you.
I don't know. Let's see. That is a very expensive ticket to get in there, man. I might be better off trying to sneak into that thing. I will say, Reed. I think the best way to shut down Reed is to just have discipline in your defense, and because he's very much a guy that if you think that he's handed the ball off, who gives a shit? keep your nose on that dude, right? Because he might just have the ball and be running down the field 15 yards untouched. I do want to say for the LSU field goal holders, kickers, family, I think there might be some concern that dude is just floating around in a bayou somewhere right now. He might be missing. I don't know. Like, has anybody seen him after that game? Because Brian Kelly didn't look very happy about his holder missing, basically being you could probably say he's directly responsible for 6 points being off the board for LSU, which changes the entire outlook of that last drive of the end of the game for LSU. But even potentially 9 points. I know, like they pointed out how it was not the best hold on the one where the kicker was kind of maxed out in his range, but even when being maxed out, the kicker, the holder didn't get the ball down, so he's still potentially responsible for 9 points for LSU. It's just like the details, every last little phase of the game, you don't know. It could be the seemingly most unimportant position on the field that screws your team.
No, it's funny, man. The clips of him getting drilled by the ball were iconic. I was in high school. Y'all both know this. Like, I played in a pretty decent high school program, spread offense. When you're in 2A ball, you get asked to do a lot more than just your one position. So I punted. I was a holder as well as a quarterback. And we're playing for the district championship my junior year, and we are attempting a field goal with 7 seconds left, down by a point. It was like a 38-yarder. And the kicker's left-footed, and I just remember looking up at him, and he looked ready to me, and I call for the ball. I catch it. I put it down. There's like a pause. It's a late kick. He balloons it. It's short. It was a terrible kick. And then you go back and you watch the film, and as I'm pointing at him, he's buttoning up one strap over here, and then he's buttoning up the other one over here, which he'd never not had done before he got on the field. And so it's a screw up on my part too. But yeah, like you're saying, you never know what it's going to be, man. Football is a weird game, a game of inches. Little bitty things can change momentum, which obviously can change your result. The momentum definitely was on A&M's side big time in the second half. But I don't fear the Aggies. Okay, it's going to be a tough game. It was always going to be a tough game. Get in there, do what we do, protect the ball, which is not what we have been doing. Don't create or don't cause penalties. those will go a long way to letting the talent actually handle things at Kyle Field. Gage, you have any concerns with the Florida Gators coming to town?
I don't know. I haven't really looked too far. Obviously, they're a lot better than we thought, and obviously, DJ's from kind of close to where I'm at, so I've seen him play, and he's very, very good, and he's very talented. I think our defense is too good, unless the turnover bug bites us again, which is a large possibility at this point. Unless we shoot ourselves in the foot and really give Florida the game, I don't think they can beat us. I just think our defense is so good that I have so much confidence in our defense to get stops when they need to get stops, even in a close game, that I'm pretty confident heading into that game against Florida. It's a little bit more dynamic stuff, and yeah, the bye week too. Like the bye week, man, it couldn't have came at more of a
Not
perfect.
just the bye week.
Yeah, they're playing Georgia too, so. But the bye week for me, we're able to rest up some guys, and hopefully we can get Makuba back and Bond too, and get some of those guys back, and that'll help a lot because a lot of people don't realize, we were missing Makuba, who's been a huge part of our secondary all season going into the Vanderbilt game, and we were missing Isaiah Bond, who's our speedster is able to take the top off. So a lot of people complaining about Quinn not throwing the ball deep, like he was kind of missing a deep threat too. So
I don't care.
yeah.
Care. Don't start with the throwing the ball deep thing. You're gonna open a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
I don't care if my 4-year-old or the neighbor's dog was a wide receiver. We're taking some deep shots. All right, you've got to get respect. Which Quinn did throw the ball downfield a couple times yesterday.
He did, yeah.
How it worked too. But sorry, go back on. I'm done interrupting.
And so I don't think that Florida has much of a shot unless we give them a shot. So hopefully this bye week we can clean some stuff up. Like it couldn't have come at a better time for this team. I don't think this bye week is pretty good timing. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough 4 weeks, man. Like this is gonna be a grind, and you just got to keep playing and keep playing hard, and you have bad days, and I don't think that necessarily yesterday was a bad day, but it wasn't a perfect day, and I think everybody has not perfect days, and I think that's the confidence that I have looking forward is, it wasn't perfect, but they could rebound from here, so we'll see, but yeah.
Nash, you any fear of Florida?
This is it's a team that's going to end up with 5 wins at the end of the season at best. I mean, I don't know. You look at their schedule. They got Georgia, Texas, then LSU, then Ole Miss, then Florida State. The only guaranteed win left on the schedule is Florida State. I like Lagway. Yeah, I don't know. Like this, as long as the Texas offense isn't handing them the ball on the 13-yard line or the 30-yard line, I'm not. This defense is. I'll maintain that this defense is as elite as I've seen. As a Longhorn fan, they're probably better than the 2005, 2008, 2009 defenses. We need our punter back. we need punting. We need the offense to stop turning the football over in short fields, so that our defense can just go out there and continue to have great statistical games. So because the 7 to giving up 30 and 20 and 30 and 24 points is just not. That's not this deep. That's not this defense. And it's not on this defense. If you even look at the where those are coming from, there have only been 4 scoring drives in the last 2 games that aren't from being an our field position.
Yeah.
So and then even then it's 2 of those, a field goal from Georgia's from the UJ 45 and a field goal from Vanderbilt's on the Vanderbilt 40. Outside of that, it's 14 points versus Vanderbilt and Georgia, 2 ranked teams.
The 2 big drives in the fourth quarter.
This defense is as elite as you will ever see. And to me, it's as simple as, does the defense show up? Yes, we win the game. 9 times out of 10, that's how it's gonna run down. and Georgia was one of the 1 times out of 10 because the defense showed up. But you know what? Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes the world's not perfect. Sometimes the offense just gives the ball to the other. I'm going to mute myself a little bit, but sometimes the offense puts the defense in a shitty position. I'll just put it that way. As long as we and that stands for A&M, Florida, whatever the rest of the games. This is a defense that can go out there and win a national championship.
Oh, the defense has been lights out, man. Trey Moore arguably had his best game in
Oh, I was so happy for him because you can tell he's kind of struggled a little. Like it's looked like his confidence is kind of fallen at times this year, and then he just goes out there and he really him and Quinn really looked like they were just playing with a different level of confidence. It's fun to watch when you can tell when you can tell there's you can feel the confidence coming off the tape, you know.
No, absolutely, man. And yeah, I thought our defense played really, really well over the last 2 weeks. Georgia's a good football team. They're going to score on teams. You're not going to shut teams like that out. And especially not when you give them the ball to 25 to 7 to 38 to 35, whatever it all was. Guys, real quick, y'all watching on YouTube, throw a like on this video. These dudes doing a great job every time they're coming on with the pregame shows, postgame shows, any other shows they're on. And if you're on Twitter, please follow that link in the bio. It'll take you to the YouTube channel. Go throw a like and a sub on the channel if you haven't done so far. We do have a couple more parents coming on this coming week. Very exciting. I want to just say who they are. I'm not going to because I like the suspense rather. But so yeah, I mean Texas. You're looking at 7-1. You're looking at their best win being over Vanderbilt. You're looking at Oklahoma being awful. A&M being undefeated in SEC play. One of the wilder seasons in college football so far that I can remember. Probably as wild so far since the 2007 season. It seems very, very wide open for anyone. Do either you gentlemen, before we let you out of here, did anybody look like a clear-cut front runner in the national championship race for you guys?
I'm gonna stick with this. I mean, because I just found this out looking at this further. That those 14 points that we've allowed, 7 of those disappear. On long, when teams actually have to, take the football across the football field and actually play football against this Texas defense. If you get rid of that, if we just don't make that boneheaded roughing the passer penalty, 7 of those points are now gone, and now only Georgia scored 7 points on this team. It's as simple as if this team can go out there, and I kind of agree with Gage in the sense that, and almost kind of revert in the inverse sense, the bye week. The bye week was perfectly placed, but I think it's just great that we had these Georgia games and the Vanderbilt games going into the bye week, because now it's as opposed to, hey, look, we've been playing perfect or near perfect, and here, let's find these nitpick things. But the players the players know that the coaches are sitting there having to nitpick, and the coaches want to sit there and go, dude, y'all are out there smacking ass. So, y'all are playing great football, but the coaches can't do that, right? Because you got to maintain a level head out there, and. Sure. It's just one of those things that I think the coaches are kind of secretly happy now. Hey, I get to chew some ass out, and there's some actual substance behind it. I get to coach. They get coaches like to coach at the end of the day. They like to do that.
You're absolutely right. What about you, Brother Gage? Does anybody outside of Texas jump out to you as far as potentially being a front runner?
No, I don't really see a front runner. I think there's still a lot of football to be played. Everybody's had their bumps and bruises so far. I guess lately Oregon has looked decent. They rank number 1 for a reason, but yeah, I don't see Oregon as they're a front runner right now. I mean, they could easily, the way the playoff is formatted, they could easily run into an 8-9 seeded SEC team and lose in their first game of the playoff. So
agreed.
Yeah, the way the playoff is formatted, I don't really think that there is going to be a favorite period. But then again, like you're also saying, there's not a team that's been dominant, completely dominant up to this point either. So there's not that clear cut either. So it's been an absolutely crazy season. From week to week, I have no idea what's going on. 90% of the time. I'm like, what is happening right now? So yeah, national championships are hard to come by, and just for Texas, like I don't, I'm not, I don't think this season's anywhere close to over. Like I think that we still got obviously we're still in a decent position to go on a run, and even if we do slip up again, we can still get in the playoff and still make a run. So because that's the way the playoffs are built now. So yeah, it's this season's really, really hard and it's really, really difficult. So it's going to be a crazy last couple of weeks. I can't believe it's already November.
It's the season really doesn't even start until December.
Yeah,
Like it's almost like two separate seasons. Like this is almost like a qualifying season for the season that actually matters. Like I don't know, like when he says like national champ, like lead front runner for the national championship. At the same time, like as much as I said Texas, I don't think there's ever going to be like a front runner in the sense that there ever was a front runner. Like
not in the portal era.
Because now all it takes, the 12 seed could just be like could just wake up and say, hey, how about we just play some football? Right? How about we just put together three good games of football? Yeah. 3 or 4 good games of football, required 4, but to win the national championship. But it's just there is that possibility. And I think that as much as Nick Saban was talking about having that bye in the first week, bye in the conference championship week, I kind of agree. Like, I think having a bye in the first week of the playoffs is almost. I think that could end up being a detriment to some teams, especially teams that hadn't played. Like if they won the conference championship and and you're off, and now other teams have been playing football. Like they've been playing quality, meaningful football. Like they just got done playing a damn battle.
Yeah,
and you've been practicing. You're not sitting on your ass, right? But you're sitting down. It's just I don't know. Like
it's a double-edged sword, but depends on who you are. I've had this thought in the last 24 hours. I don't think I want Texas to see a bye. I don't, for the strict reason that Quinn Ewers coming off of time off is not his best. That's when to me, like, he was a little rusty in the first half of the Sugar Bowl last year, rusty when he came back last year off of injury. He was rusty this year when he came back off of injury. And I want him to be the guy, and I want him to play well. So give me that first week game. Let's get the rust out of the way after a couple of weeks off from hopefully an SEC title appearance, and let's go from there.
Okay, let me stop you there. That didn't happen. I'm going to let you know right now. There is no possible world where Texas wins an SEC title and does not go to the bye.
I didn't say win. I just said I
thought you said.
I said appearance.
Did he say win, Gage? I thought he said win.
No, he said appearance.
I thought, okay. Well, I'll take that. Look, because hey, I don't know, but at the same, I don't know if I agree with that, because then that's playing too much football. I see where you're going. You're saying, Quinn, I don't want any breaks. No. You get a 1 week. You get a 1 week bye after the conference championship, and that's it, brother. You get your ass back on the football field.
Yeah, I think
I would not mind. Look, I've always said this. Like, this is how I originally thought, and I don't know. Like, I'm kind of like you. I've been going back and forth. I'm not sure where I stand on it just yet. But I like you heard me just talking. I was skeptical about the bye just now, but like, I don't know if I want the first round bye. Right? I kind of would like it, but at the same time, man, I would love to see a playoff environment and see inside DKR.
Absolutely.
Christmas week, the week of Christmas. Oh, that would with a Longhorn win would be the best Christmas present I think I could get.
Yeah. I think that even though it's college and it's going to be completely different, like we've seen this kind of play out some years with the NFL, and that some teams can have that bye week and go straight to the divisional round, and they are super rusty. And some teams get super hot at the end of the season and they get into the wild card, and then they stay hot and they keep playing football, and then they make it all the way to the Super Bowl. So it's professional, so it's different. And even in
what
baseball,
are you talking about real quick? Hold on. Like, what are you talking about? We're asking if you would rather have a bye or would rather not have a bye. No one is acted entitled. We've addressed the whole game. I hope you're a Georgia fan because that's the only reason that anyone
Well,
should
I
be
mean,
here.
I might have been entitled to once or twice in the stream tonight.
Well, Nash, that's you though, buddy. Like they should know that's just Nash
Yeah.
being Nash, and they should just learn to rock
Well,
with it.
and also, but
All right,
I
Gabe.
will also say a lot of the stuff that I say about this defense is fact based. I'm very. I'll sit there and scream FAFO all day long with this defense.
Yeah, our defense is national championship ready for sure. And really like it. We don't need Quinn to play perfect. Like we just can't afford 4 turnovers. It's let the defense ball out and Quinn let's be turnover free and don't put our defense in crazy positions and let them fly around and make plays, man. Like that's how good this defense is. And so, yeah,
It's like it's literally just it's as simple as is the offense. When I say offense giving us something, I literally mean just like anything.
yeah,
As long as the offense isn't giving us negative production like they were in the Georgia
yes.
for the first half versus Georgia, we're gravy, baby.
Yeah.
If Texas finds a way to run the ball, they're going to be.
If we find a way to run the ball,
That's the key here for me coming off a bye week. Find a way to run the ball. Things get much easier for the offense. Now we're at week 9, 8 games in. It might not be happening for Texas in the run game.
Stop holding.
Oh, if we start running the ball, dude, I'm yeah.
That's when it can get fun.
I'll be on my roof screaming every day about Texas won the national championship.
Yeah, that's when I start to look at, okay, I don't care what type of defense we play because of the weapons, but can't talk a lot of trash on it. We just ran the ball for like 1.1 a carry against Georgia, and not very much better at Vandy. But hey, there
were some good Wisner runs. I don't know. I just want to reiterate. All of my issues about the run game have not been anywhere close to pinned on the running backs.
And this is another issue for me is like Texas fans and obviously a lot more rival fans are loving to dunk on Texas. Vanderbilt just lost in Nashville. Vanderbilt just smoked Kentucky. It's like, Texas won a game. I'm good. I didn't like the way it ended. I didn't like that it got closer. But yeah, the people that are like, I retweeted a Nagy tweet yesterday, which I'm still part of that community somehow on Twitter. Some guy posted a tweet and was like, I'm so much more afraid of South Carolina than Texas. We're going to like beat them to hell or something. And I love it. I love that that's the impression that.
Yeah. I said they should rank A&M number 1.
Yeah, man. Pop them. I mean, yeah, they look good. But at the same time, let's go back and look at LSU, who they played, the opponents. Their best win was over Ole Miss.
And let's also look at the history of A&M. Like I sent you that.
And they lost to USC.
I'm like, hey, we just got to trust. Time is coming, right? The A&M, this is like the year. Every time it happens. Hey, full hype in October, right? National championship is on the way. Just wait for November, baby. Just wait for November.
That's the thing, man. Like Kevin Sumlin, more of style over substance. Jimbo Fisher didn't really have either. Elko's not the most stylish guy, but he seems to try to be kind of, he's not like, he doesn't have all the gimmicks and the style, but the black uniform thing seems to have been a big hit for those guys.
I mean, I'm not going to talk trash about Elko.
He knows what he's doing, man. That defense is good. My point is, I hope they lose in Columbia this weekend. But I don't expect that same type of drop off, even though I would love to see it. I hope you are right, Nash. I hope the meme was right, the roller coaster meme that we all know so well, love so much. But
well, we'll see. We'll see too how it looks with South Carolina. Hopefully, shout out to South Carolina. Prepare for Marcel. I'm sure Marcel Reed will start, but probably should prepare for both quarterbacks.
Well, that's the thing. They're coming off a bye week, so they probably just sat there and went through so much Connor Wegman prep.
And now they can spend the second half going through Marcel Reed.
But the good thing is for the defenses is like they don't normally go and sit there and like that bye week, like they're working on things. They might be working on certain techniques and little things, but they're not really game planning too much yet. So I don't think it'll be like a complete overload of information. Mr. Nash, what were you going to say, brother?
I was going to say I think a great bet for somebody to make is to go bet for the Aggies to win on the November 16th.
What's up, Chris? To go win on November 16th?
Yeah. Aggies.
Is that Auburn or no? That's
No, for A&M. A&M, they're playing New Mexico State.
okay.
Aggies are going to win.
Yeah, that's a lock. I feel pretty good about that.
One of the Aggies, at least.
Yeah. We'll be up in Arkansas battling that day, and they're going to have New Mexico State. I kind of wish we would have had another conference game earlier in the year right now when we were really kind of clicking and playing well, and would have had one of our UTSA or ULM games here in November. Kind of
we had our that's from the Big 12 because the problem was we had those Big 12 scheduling.
Yep.
No more scheduling for 8 years out. Like I do remember like when we scheduled those, and I'm like, man, in 8 years that Ohio State and Michigan games are going to be fun, but now that we're here, it's like
we're here.
We didn't know we were going to be moving.
Yeah. One day we'll have a real SEC schedule as far as.
Oh no, Sark said we're done with this shit, dude.
Good.
Like, I think they asked him about the out of like he was like somebody said like somebody was trying to get some like just like typical answer like just the cliche answer about hey, y'all are playing Michigan, Ohio State, and all, are y'all going to keep these up? And he's like, I don't know how many. Like, I love these games as a fan, but I don't know how many we're going to keep on doing outside. Like, I'm not. He does not want to schedule these big dogs outside of conference. He's perfectly fine with having the conference and getting our cupcakes.
I mean, the Texas schedule next year, including both an Ohio State and a Georgia, along obviously with Oklahoma, Texas A&M, all the teams we had from this year, conference-wise. And that's fun, man. That's a lot of fun. But, yeah, I get it, and I hate to say it, because we're just playing into what all the Aggies and everybody else has said about the SEC being a grind for the last, forever. That schedule's it is what it is, man. So adding an Ohio State in there or Michigan a couple years later in the return game to Austin, like it makes it tough. I get it. But at least we're playing ours and we didn't tap out like Oklahoma did with Georgia. So, but all right, guys. Anything else before we let you out of here?
Did y'all hear what Diego Pavia said about the Texas defense though after the game?
No.
He's like, that was the best defense I've ever played.
Okay, I thought you were about to say it. I thought you were about to bring out some like out of pocket crap.
No, that's what he said. So I know he played at New Mexico State last year, but that's a solid compliment still from a dude that I felt bad. There was a couple hits he took. I was like, "Dang, dude, he's getting beat up." So you could tell the Texas players that they're gigantic compared to him. So props to him. Again, obviously he's my boy, so I can't wait to see him ball out against the rest of these Giants, and they're gonna get another big win this year.
Yeah, I mean the Diego Mania is still a real thing. Vanderbilt, let's get them to their 6th win, get them in a bowl game. Would be really, really cool for those guys. They deserve that. Clark Lee is a great coach. I don't know if y'all saw the pregame talk in the locker room yesterday. I wanted to go play for him against Texas after that, and it was just some short snippets of it. And so, great coach, seems to be a great man, obviously a very, very good leader. But yeah, so guys, Texas 7-1, heading into the bye week. Have a fun weekend of college ball. Some hate watching to do this weekend. We got A&M traveling to South Carolina. I think Oklahoma is it Main week for OU?
Is it? I thought they played them like the weekend before Thanksgiving. I'm not sure.
No,
I don't know.
It's this weekend.
It's
unless they gotta buy it. Unless they have buy it this week.
Oklahoma's gonna win a game, bro.
That's a pretty bold prediction there, brother.
I don't know. I haven't looked at Maine. I don't know how well they're doing. We'll see.
Let me put it this way: there's only 4 offenses that are at or worse than Oklahoma's offense, and Maine isn't one of them.
That's the thing. You have to start thinking. It's like if they score, 20 points, which they won't, OU will blow them out. 20 points is enough to beat this Oklahoma team 99 times out of 100. Chris, I'm going to say that they do make a bowl. I think that they are going to surprise Missouri. Missouri is very bad themselves. There seems to be a lot of friction within the Missouri program, or at least just looking at the way the players are acting and the mannerisms. They just don't look very happy. And so I'll give them credit, but I would love to be wrong. consider that an attempt at a jinx, if anything. What about you guys? OU, do they find 2 wins? You're talking about beating LSU, Alabama, or Maine, and the other one.
Is the rule still the same
Missouri,
on FCS wins?
What?
Like, do FCS wins count towards bowl eligibility?
We have so very rarely played FCS schools. I've never even considered this. We should
I
ask
don't
the
know if
Aggies.
they've changed it or not because Maine's FCS.
You're right.
So
yeah.
I think that they'll invite them no matter what if they get 6 wins. But yeah, I think
Well, if there's any Aggies in the chat, please speak up. Right now is your time to shine. We need to know if an FCS win counts towards bowl eligibility, and you guys would be the masters of that.
They'll know. Like they've had countless seasons that are determined by an FCS win getting them into the bowl game.
Got to get that.
I don't
somehow.
Look, I know it's an FCS school, but I don't know. Like Oklahoma's most likely going to blow them out, but it's just genuinely funny to say that there's a chance that they can lose to Maine. I cannot see them making a bowl game. I can't. It would require, I know Missouri's not that good, but it's just Oklahoma's bad.
It just comes all down to that Missouri games. They're not beating Alabama. I don't care if it's at home. I don't care how many.
Those other games, they could be played on the moon for all I care.
LSU is going to blast them into the sun. So yeah, it comes down to traveling to Columbia, Missouri, facing the Tigers. That's going to be it. That with all the offseason trash talk, with all the tension between the two fan bases.
Yeah, that's
Caden Green.
Where I say, I think that's where I think that they don't have a chance in the Missouri game, is because I think that the fans, right? If you're a Missouri fan, if there was one game that you had already bought your ticket for and you were going to go and you're going to get drunk and just be screaming all game long, it's the Oklahoma game.
Yeah, true.
Because if there's one game, if there was one game, I bet you if you had asked Missouri fans and even Oklahoma fans too, I bet if you had asked them both, just complete truth serum and said, hey, if you only get one win, who do you want to beat? Like you said, the offseason trash talk between Missouri and Oklahoma was awesome to watch. They were going to war with each other.
Oh, well, here you go, Nash. Missouri will have a bye week. Oklahoma deals with Maine. So let me take away my prediction on OU beating Missouri, coming off a bye, coming off an embarrassing performance. I mean, I'm not saying Missouri for sure wins that game, but I don't feel near as good about it now.
I'll say this to kind of go on to defend Missouri, right? Missouri they don't have the playoff to play. They're not playing for the playoff anymore. They're basically playing for a bowl game. They're at the point where, hey, screw it. Let's spend 2 weeks of game planning on Oklahoma. Let's just make sure we get that one.
Yeah, I think the big difference between the two teams right now is OU has guys that could be playing that aren't, and it'll be interesting to see if Missouri guys start dropping out too. But that Missouri looked dead in the eyes yesterday, and I'm not sure that offense it might be like a 3-0 game. So,
I don't know. I think Missouri still finishes. Missouri still. I just said they don't have a chance to the playoff. I think they still have a chance for that very last 12th spot, because if you look at it, they look. No. Oklahoma, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Arkansas. There's a legit chance they end up 10-2 at the end of the year.
That might be the game.
I'm just saying they could be on the bubble for that last spot.
I give them a 40% chance at best to win all 3 of those games. You're talking at South Carolina, at Mississippi State, Arkansas at home.
That might be the game Mississippi State wins.
You watch them against A&M and Alabama?
They look dead in the eyes against Alabama yesterday. Those guys look like they just didn't even want to be there.
No fight, no effort. I don't know. Could be wrong. Like I said, bye week for them. We'll see what coach. We're expecting our guys to figure out some things this week, or hoping so. Maybe Missouri does as well. I did see Coach Drink yelling "F you, F you, F you" over and over and over again yesterday after that late hit on Brady Cook. But I'll be rooting for the old Tigers when the Sooners come to town, no doubt. Don't let me get you confused, Nash. I don't want I want Missouri to figure it out. If they went 10-2, I mean, like that's the crazy part about this year is there's so many teams. You have Indiana, you have Penn State, you have what's another team? Miami is obviously still undefeated. Clemson just with one loss. Like, I'm very curious to see what they do with bids and how many conferences end up with how many teams in the playoffs. Just because
it's not like I'm sitting here saying they're going to make the playoffs. I just said like
it's a legit chance, brother. That's where I had to speak up.
Because when I say a legit chance, I mean it is perfectly open for them to go 10-2.
I agree. Yeah,
there's a legit chance at that point. I mean, it's like because at that point, I don't know. It's like I'm. It's not. You don't got to have a fucking tooth fairy come and give you a magical wish to get to 10-2.
I'm just saying, man. I'm curious to see what it'll look like because you have these teams like Indiana, Ohio State, and Penn State are all going to end up with one loss.
I mean, South Carolina's favored to win. So
are they really?
Well, the ESPN matchup predictor.
Okay. I would much rather South Carolina. All right, let me ask you this: would you rather South Carolina beat A&M this week or Missouri beat Oklahoma next week, which would inevitably, or 2 weeks from now, which would keep them out of bowl eligibility?
South Carolina, That's too easy. Like, look. I think that game's always going to be hyped up at the end, right? And I do like to see A&M going in as high as possible, but at the same time, I would love to just watch their egos get just checked. Just like after all that shit they've been talking after the Georgia loss and after this Vanderbilt, I would just it'd make my day. Now I will say this coming from the guy that tweeted out saying that I think that Texas A&M should be ranked higher than Texas this week, but
I mean, they look good, man. It's hard to.
I don't know. Like I think that when you do rankings, it should reflect the current week and what happened. And the last 2 weeks, Texas just has not looked. We've just looked sloppy. Is what it is. I'm not saying that we're a bad team. No. I'm not saying, and I'm not. I'm sitting here I just said to Gage. I think that. I feel comfortable saying that I still feel comfortable saying we're going to go win the national championship, but we got to. It's just you got to fix these issues, and until they get fixed, A&M should be probably one, in my opinion, just one spot higher than us. They looked really good last night.
No, they did, man. They looked really, really good. They battled. That was the thing, they Garrett Nussmeier definitely helped him out a little bit with some absolutely egregious decision making. So then A&M capitalized. They made him pay. And then obviously when Marcel Reed got in the game, it was over, and it happened quick. It's kind of crazy to watch. It almost
it was like a tidal wave just came over.
I feel very good about saying that this is nowhere close to being accurate. But I do love you, Hardware. But I think Arch is a lot better as a passer. Let's see what happens when Marcel is not able to take off and run the ball. But I will say this, in your defense, Hardware, I have been saying for weeks that Marcel Reed fits that system and what Colin Klein wants to do a lot better than Connor Wigman. I've tried to do it in the nicest way possible, but Chris, penalties are an issue. So bye week, we got to fix up some penalty issues, pass protection issues, find something in the run game. I need a pen and paper. The list is getting long, but no, defense is playing great. I think we're 2/3 of the way through the season. A lot of people wanted to question our defense, say they hadn't really been tested, this and that. I think over the last 2 weeks, the best two offenses that we've seen this year, which is crazy to include Vanderbilt in that conversation, but it's true. They've passed the test. The point totals 30 and 24 aren't super impressive, but when those totals are aided by a Texas offense gift drafting a few points to the opposition, you can stomach them a little bit more. All right, guys. Final words. Get you out of here. We got an Aggie or two Aggies and a Tiger hopping on the channel in a minute, so that one of the Tiger can sing a song. I don't know. They made a bet and they wanted to come on and do it. So gonna let those guys do that. For anybody that wants to see some Aggies and Tigers bicker a little bit, and then the Tiger. I don't know what song he's singing. I don't know all the Aggie jams.
I feel like they got too many.
It's all circus.
They got a tradition for every fucking quarter or something like that. I don't know. They're really weird to watch. They are a really weird bunch to watch at a baseball game. I'll just say that.
Chris, that I've kind of wondered this too. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. It definitely
100%.
sounded like a shot. He,
Oh yeah, no. He was. What was it like? This is a program or something like that.
so this is not a salesman, fast talking salesman. Like he called Jimbo out. He said everything he could about Jimbo, but without saying Jimbo's name. And every claim that a lot of us, I was always wary on Jimbo Fisher. I had to be really, really quiet about it during 2020 because he had a good year. I had several coaching buddies that were so big on Jimbo to A&M, and I sounded like a very bitter Longhorn, bringing up all the issues that I had with Jimbo Fisher in his time at Florida State. Obviously, the end of his time at Florida State and how it went down, the shape of their offensive line room, the shape of their roster, and just kind of had some worries. Everything that I ever told those guys, anything I ever said, Elko said it last night in like 30 seconds. It definitely sounded like a shot. Mike, my man, it's hard. I'm kind of with you right here. I'm somewhere. I don't know if I'm with Nash as far as, hey, we can win a national title. I think we can be a great team. I only say that the national title comment because that offense really, really struggled against Georgia. I need to see the offensive line step up if I'm going to start believing that O-line is going to have to take another step. And last year they got hot at the end of the year. I'm not saying they can't do it or that I'm not rooting for it. Last year they got hot. They tore up the end of that Big 12 schedule. The O-line played great. Obviously, the whole team was cooking. Things were good. So I would love another finish like last November. That was perfect.
I don't know. I think that I don't know. With this defense, it's
possible.
I just have too much. I think any team. It does not matter what the offense is. And any team with this defense, Oklahoma could have this defense, and they'd be in the national title. I'm not kidding. I'm dead serious.
No, yeah, no.
I like it.
Now, for me,
this is the defense that goes in defense. I mean, it's the old saying: defense wins championships.
Absolutely true. And as long as your offense isn't bailing them out, I mean, their offense isn't bailing out the ops. This Texas defense is really, really hard to move down the football field on, especially when we're having to go the full length of the field. So I'm with you, and don't blame anyone that feels that way. I want that to be the case. I want us to have a shot. Just give me some better O-line play. We'll see what happens. Gage, anything to say before we get you out, brother?
No.
All righty, guys. Nash, parting words, my friend.
Welcome.
Well, welcome, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.